Hare Krishna. We would like to welcome all of you to this Journey Home course, the last session. Uh, the admins kindly keep everyone muted for all the time throughout the session. And all participants, please keep yourself muted consciously so that we do not disturb the entire discussion. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj has joined us. We are just going to invite him in a few seconds. Before that, some administrative, announcements we should be doing now. Most importantly, keep silent. If you by mistake get unmuted for whatever reason, please mute yourself and remain silent. And all of you, if whoever are on the Zoom call, please keep your cameras on so that Maharaj can see all of you and interact with all of you. And those who are not able to make it to the Zoom, we had some technical glitches because of which we are only able to admit 300 people into the Zoom call. And beyond that, over and beyond that, those who are wanting to hear the session, they will be on the YouTube live. The link has also been provided to all of you all. I can see hundreds of devotees and participants wanting to attend the session, and those of you whom you know, people who are waiting and not able to get into the Zoom call, please convey them that they should join the session through the YouTube live link. Okay. With all of that, we would like to start the session. Admins, please be careful of the sound. As soon as you find some extra noise coming in, please mute it consciously so that the proceedings can go on and Maharaj can speak uninterruptedly. Please see if the settings can be arranged in such a way that nobody can, unmute themselves, so that the whole thing is, very very silent. Okay, great. We will offer a humble obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees assembled here. I would respectfully like to call His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj to join us in this session and grace this session. And then we will begin our session by asking him some questions. All of you have been a part of the Journey Home course for over 7 sessions so far. And this Journey Home course has been one of the most enriching courses that I have ever done in my life. And so many of you all from around the world have been reaching out to me and telling me about how this course has affected you all and inspired you all so much. The Journey Home has been, a source of inspiration for so many of us. And beyond reading it, we studied it together, and that has really inspired all of us to the next level. And we thought, what could be a more powerful way to end this course than invite His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj to be a part of this course and to share his insights and wisdom with all of us live on a Zoom call. And Maharaj, in spite of his hectic schedule, in spite of his health, he has kindly agreed to be a part of this gathering and talk to us live. I would like to invite His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj to be with us and inspire us through this live session. Hare Krishna. Let us welcome Maharaj by clapping our hands on Zoom and sending reactions on Zoom, please. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Om Agyantimidandasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Srijutapatakamalам Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Bitham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakambitanscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyate Shatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktabinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank
I
you
am,
very much.
I am sincerely grateful to you, Shubhavalas Prabhu, for bringing me together with all of these wonderful, wonderful people. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for taking your precious time to give us your association today.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for giving us your time. For many of us, the journey home has walked alongside our own questions about meaning, faith, and trust. With your permission, I would like to ask you a few questions based on the journey home and based on the journey that all of us have gone through together.
Please.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very grateful to you. Maharaj, when you look back at the journey described in the journey home, what was your heart truly searching for? And what did it finally find?
Before answering that question, I'm truly amazed that anyone likes this book or that anyone is taking interest, and what to speak of this wonderful sangam of devotees and people who are gathered together to discuss it. When Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, on his last days, when he urged me to write it, and I was very resistant, he was insistent, and he held my hand and said, "Promise me that you will write it." And he wouldn't let me not promise him. And after I did, he said, "You cannot break a promise to a person on his deathbed." So when I wrote it, I just tried to honestly tell the story as I could remember it. And I'm amazed that anyone likes it. It's the first time I ever wrote anything, actually. But I'm very grateful to all of you. And what was I looking for? everyone is looking for purpose in different ways. Everyone is looking for a meaning in life in different ways. Everyone is looking for happiness, for pleasure, for love. Everyone is looking for ways of succeeding. Life is about aspiring for what we hold sacred and dear as our aspiration. And in my own life, I saw much frustration, prejudice, hypocrisy, and I saw people trying to find meaning and happiness just going along with all of that, being brought into to the energy of greed and lust and envy and all of these things, arrogance. And in my observation of the world, things look so shallow and so superficial. And I was seeking a deep experience, an experience of life beyond superficialities, something very deep that I had read saints and philosophers and activists throughout history had been seeking. Because unless we deal with the problems in the world from a deep, sustainable level, then we're not really solving problems. We're just postponing them or making them worse. So at the beginning of my journey, I was looking for a deeper experience of happiness, meaning, and purpose. And as I was traveling, as I was studying, and as I was experiencing life, it became very clear to me that my path in life required spiritual transformation. That without loving and being loved, life really doesn't have a deep meaning. And that love that we're searching for must be something very deeply spiritual. And from my readings and my studies and own experiences, that sacred purpose, that love is within us, and how to find it. So I was searching for through nature, through social interactions, and eventually through the various religions and spiritual paths of the world. There's so much hatred in the name of God. There's so much arrogance in the name of surrender. It was easy to give up from the path, but I needed to keep reminding myself and be reminded that at the essence of true spirituality, that's where true love, true happiness, true meaning, and true purpose is. And by God's grace on my own journey, He led me through many places, through many experiences, and ultimately, beyond any plan or any understanding on my part, I believe as an answer to prayers that I didn't even know what I was praying for, He brought me to Vrindavan. And then he wouldn't let me leave. As soon as I got there, I got deathly sick. And it was there that I found in bhakti, in devotional service to Krishna, a philosophy, a culture, a lifestyle, and an experience that was really at the heart of everything I was seeking. And it was so inclusive of all the beautiful things that God had taught me and given to me through so many people. And when I came in contact with Srila Prabhupada, my heart just naturally surrendered to wanting to assist him, because my faith in his compassion and the authenticity of the tradition he was representing, and the genuineness in how he was presenting it.
Thank you, Maharaj, for this beautiful and very essential answer that you just shared with us. Your journey truly amazes each and every one of us. And more importantly, how much you remember. You wrote this book practically, 40 years later, and yet the details, when I was reading it, when I was deeply studying it, the kind of details that you have written astounds a person. How do you remember such levels of interactions and such levels of details after so many decades? That really means that the whole experience has gone so much deeper inside you. So my second question to you, Maharaj, is after meeting so many saints and yogis, what inner quality finally convinced you that this was the path that your heart could fully trust? At every stage when you're meeting so many of these teachers, somewhere something kept telling you that I need to go further, I need to walk on my path further. What is that one thing that really hit you so hard that you were convinced that this is the place my heart could fully trust?
It was God's grace and ultimately my guru's grace. It wasn't something that hit me so hard. It was more a gradual and soft understanding that, yes, I'm home. It took time. But in time, there was a fullness that, yes, I've received an amazing amount of knowledge. I've received an amazing amount of observation of siddhis or supernatural powers. I've seen amazing things and people who do extraordinary activities, accomplishments. But what I found in Vrindavan was that the deepest connection to God could be where there's a true humility of the heart that finds shelter in the beauty, the grace, and the love of God. And that humility is actually the source of the greatest courage, the greatest determination, even the greatest detachment. Because in humility, we're literally giving up our egos, not to be the subject of happiness, but to be the object of happiness. That Krishna, I'm yours. God, I'm yours. And when we come to that aspiration, then the door is open by which we could receive actual love of God, to experience Krishna's unlimited love, and to reciprocate by offering our love. And that has to be without ego. That has to be with a truly humble and sincere heart. And I don't claim I have any of those things, but it was in Vrindavan and in our bhakti tradition, and culminating in Srila Prabhupada, my guru. I found that here is the path that leads to this.
Thank you, Maharaj, for that. The clarity with which you took shelter of Srila Prabhupada and the clarity with which you accepted the path of bhakti is something that is so deeply touching to all of us. Um, I want to ask you, while I was reading the journey home, I had a thought which was, always something that I wanted to ask you. And here is a chance, so I thought, let me ask you this. During those long stretches in your journey where you were utterly alone, no family, no certainty, no validation, absolutely no idea of many things, how did you sit with loneliness without letting it harden your heart? And I'm asking this specifically today because loneliness is a pandemic today, and people are struggling to deal with it, even though they're surrounded by people. And yet, you are on this journey completely alone. And you didn't allow that loneliness to affect you, but rather you didn't allow it to even harden your heart. How did you deal with that loneliness as a young 19-year-old boy, which and on such an arduous journey?
I never thought of it as loneliness. By God's grace, by no qualification of my own, I had a faith and I had a hope in something very beautiful in life. And because that purpose was so special, and being alone is just a beautiful way to be united with nature. I felt such beautiful company with the birds and the animals and the mountains and the trees and the rivers and all of these things. And if we're looking for a personal interaction with nature, we'll have a personal interaction with nature. And if we have faith in the truth that nature is God's nature, then hearing the birds and watching the sunrise and set and seeing the sky and the mountains and especially the beauty of rivers, and it's a feeling of being personally close to God. And I think we're all personally close to God, but we're not recognizing it. And it just takes, a little bit of knowing what to recognize and wanting to recognize it. And then in my interactions with people when I was traveling, for those years, whoever I was in contact with, it was for a very temporary amount of time. And I knew I would probably never see them again in my lifetime. But just remembering them was to always be with them. And, you know, in our human relationships, it's often complicated because, you know, there's a lot of egos that don't harmonize with our own. And but if we have a deeper and higher purpose for these human relationships, then we could see through all of these superficial differences that cause conflict and take us apart from each other.
Thank you, Maharaj. That was a really profound answer.
And
And
oftentimes, loneliness is not because of interactions with others, but it's because of our own interaction with ourself. You know, we're kind of separated from our own hearts because of so many distractions and so many superficial values that are imposed upon us, even within a family. You know, today, sometimes people are living in the same house and they talk to each other on cellular phones with text messages. Um, relationships do need to be cultivated. If we want proper relationships with people, we have to cultivate them. But it's important to have, you know, our own sadhana, our own, you know, spiritual practice, so that we could come in contact with ourself. We could feel comfortable with ourself. And then rather than always seeking comfort from others, which oftentimes we just don't find in a sustainable way. If we find that connection with ourselves and we find that connection with like-minded people, then we're sharing. We're sharing affection. We're sharing respect. We're sharing friendship with each other. But that does take cultivating a proper attitude within our own minds, in our own hearts. And that's very much a purpose of yoga, religion, spirituality. And it's very much at the heart of bhakti. Bhakti is about cultivating loving relationships, cultivating loving relationship between our own body, our mind, our heart, with our soul. Cultivating a loving relationship with God and with God's nature. And with that aspiration, with that truth as the aspiration of our life, then we're sharing that desire to love with each other, to love God. Problems get solved in this world by just negotiation or stopgap measures for the purpose of changing the immediate situation. But it's not sustainable, and it never will be sustainable. It takes a spiritual solution. It takes a sincerity where we learn to overcome conflicts from a higher platform of consciousness. One scientist said, you cannot solve your problems by making solutions with the same mindset that caused them. we have to come to a higher state of consciousness. What is that higher principle of consciousness in bhakti? That what will please Krishna? In my dealings with another person, what will please Krishna? And among like-minded people who are on the spiritual path, a real community is when we all agree on this principle to whatever extent we sincerely can, that we will cooperate and learn to respect each other as children of God with all of our faults and try to uplift each other. And in trying to uplift each other with that understanding, then Krishna will uplift us. So loneliness is a problem. But at the heart of it, it's because the mind is lonely because it's disconnected from our own self, our own soul. And therefore, without connection to our own soul, we're disconnected from the real self of others who are souls, and from God, from Krishna, who is the ultimate object of all love.
Thank you, Maharaj. This is so beautiful, encouraging, cultivating relationship with oneself and with nature around us, and looking at a much deeper connection at a level of the soul rather than a superficial connection which doesn't satisfy us. This is really profound. Maharaj, one thing in my study of the journey home that has really surprised me is the journey home actually completes a full circle. When you began the journey, you got a pamphlet with a picture of Srila Prabhupada in it, and you didn't know at that point it was Srila Prabhupada. And that picture touched your heart so deeply, and you felt something when you saw that picture. And then eventually you lost that pamphlet, and then you went that entire journey, the most miraculous and wondrous adventure. And then finally, when you eventually chose Srila Prabhupada and took shelter of Srila Prabhupada, and you know, what is it about Srila Prabhupada that made you feel this is my guru beyond the philosophy and beyond the instruction? And then when you actually saw that picture of Srila Prabhupada again, somebody gave you that exact same picture when you got initiated. You were so amazed that you began your journey with him, and the journey culminated exactly in the same picture, and you felt that that is a gift of Krishna to you.
It's hard to explain it better than you just did, Shubha Vilas Prabhu. But I'll tell the story again briefly. I was at a festival, a music festival in New York City. And it was just the day before I decided to go on this journey. I had no idea I was going anywhere. I was just visiting a friend in New York, and he brought me. And I was walking around alone in the back, and one devotee came up to me. I didn't know what a devotee was. Never met a devotee of Krishna before. But he was wearing robes and had shaved head, and he came up to me and gave me this very small paper book. It was Krishna, the Reservoir of Pleasure, and Who is Crazy? 2 essays of Srila Prabhupada that were put in one little small book. And the front cover had, I believe, a picture of Krishna dancing with some cowherd boys, but I didn't know who they were. And the back cover, I didn't see it. I didn't even look at the book, actually. The person who gave it to me was His Holiness Gunagrahi Swami Maharaj.
Wow.
But at that time, he was a grihasta. He was a married man. And he just handed me the book and asked me for money. And I had no money. I honestly didn't have anything. And at that time, somebody else came and tried to sell me something else. And then he ended up getting in an argument with Gunagrahi Maharaj, and they both walked away and just completely forgot about me. And I had the book, and I just put it in a little bag, and then I never looked at it actually. And the next day I was visiting my friend Gary in a nearby city, and we decided to go to Europe. And a few days later, I was in Europe, and I was hitchhiking, and we got picked up by this van that was picking up everybody on the road. And I was in the back on the floor, very crowded, very noisy. And I happened to look in my bag and saw that book, and I saw the back photo. I couldn't read anything because it was too noisy and everything, but I saw this photo of somebody, and it astonished me. Something in my heart told me, if anyone loves God, it's this person.
Wow.
And within minutes of thinking like that, looking at the picture, the van broke down and everyone had to leave, and I lost the little booklet. And I had no idea who his name was, and I forgot all about it within an hour. And then a couple years later, a few years later, actually, when I received initiation, it was at New Vrindavan. Somebody gave me that photograph from that same book, but he had it in a frame, and he had it in his office, and he gave it to me. And that original same one, I have it at Radha Gopinath Temple in the room I stay. It's still there. And he gave that to me, and I looked, and then I remembered this is the exact photo of the person who before my journey began, who I felt, if there's anyone who loves God, it's this person. And the amazing thing is, where I was staying was at the old farm of New Vrindavan, and I was soon to become a pujari. And there was a tree right outside the pujari room. And it was a photo of Srila Prabhupada sitting under that tree.
Wow. Wow.
So Krishna was revealing not only who my guru was going to be, what my path was going to be, but where I was going to be living.
Wow. Every time we hear one more detail of the...
I completely forgot about that photograph within hours after I lost it. And I never remembered it again until, even when I met Srila Prabhupada, I made no connection. It wasn't until I took initiation that that photo was given to me.
Maharaj, your journey will always remain unfathomable and inconceivable for all of us. Every time we hear one more detail of what you experienced, it just convinces us so much more about the depth of Krishna consciousness and your personal connection with the Paramatma, with Srila Prabhupada, and with the entire process. This one, I mean, I read it, but when you shared this little more detail about Srila Prabhupada being under that exact tree in New Vrindavan, where you were serving, it just makes it so much more deeper and so much more profound. Thank you, Maharaj, for sharing something so personal with all of us.
Thank you.
Maharaj, we want to know something. Of course, your relationship with Prabhupada is so deep and so profound. It started right from the beginning. But for a sadhaka who is really interested in going deeper in one's spiritual life, how can one develop one's relationship with one's guru so that it is based on love rather than on any external factors? And how can one uh, enhance one's depth of connection with the spiritual master? The kind of depth of connection that you have with Srila Prabhupada is so evident and so deeply personal. So we would really like to know from you, Maharaj, what would be your thoughts on this?
Truly, compared to so many of my god sisters and god brothers, I'm very insignificant in my love and my service to Srila Prabhupada. But to really feel the love of our gurus, it's by Krishna's mercy within our heart. By our guru's mercy, we can have a connection with Krishna, and by Krishna's mercy, we can actually understand what love is and what gratitude is. But, I was in India, I met Srila Prabhupada several times, but during that time, I was not his initiated disciple. When I first met him in Mumbai at Cross Maidan, and he called someone to call me out of a crowd of about 25,000 people and come on the stage with him. I was sitting on the stage with him, and I remember I felt so totally out of place because everyone on the stage had clean clothes and shaved heads and beautiful saris. And I had just the same set of clothes I was wearing for months and months that I just washed in dirty rivers. And I hadn't combed my hair in about a year. So I felt so different than everybody else. And I felt so out of place. And there were all these thousands of people looking at the stage. And I just wanted to run away, actually. But then I looked at Srila Prabhupada, and he just looked at me, and he just glanced at me. And he didn't say anything. There was a kirtan going on. But just by his glance, it had so much concern, so much compassion. I could hear in his glance that it's all right, you just stay with us. And I was completely relieved. I just felt right at home. And as he was giving his lecture about half hour later, in my heart, there was a strong voice saying, "This is your guru." But my mind rejected it. My mind and my intellect were having a debate with my heart while I'm sitting there on stage next to Srila Prabhupada, and he's speaking to the 20,000 people. And I was thinking, well, of course, all the devotees were on the stage. And my heart was thinking, this is your guru. My mind and intellect, I've met so many saintly people and so many great persons, and there's so much more I want to learn before I choose a guru. So ultimately, my mind and intellect overcame my heart, and I decided that I can't make a decision like this now. I didn't accept it or reject it. I can't make such a decision now. And then for over 6 months, I was traveling, and ultimately I came to Vrindavan, and that's where my heart changed by living in Vrindavan, and that's where I became committed to the path of bhakti. And then right at that perfect time, Srila Prabhupada came to Vrindavan with about 25, 30 devotees. Before that, there were just 2 foreign people in all of Vrindavan, Asim Krishnadas and myself, and one girl named Radha Dasi, none of them were connected to ISKCON. There was no temple in ISKCON, but Prabhupada came just on a little pilgrimage. And I stayed with Prabhupada for that whole 10 days he was there. And right at the end, while he was chanting Jai Radha Madhava, my mind, my heart, my intellect, my whole life was completely in harmony with the conclusion that I want to give my life to Srila Prabhupada. Because I lived in Vrindavan, and I all these higher rasas things were just a regular way of life to me. And everything else, and all the yoga that I did before that, and all the saints and sages and rishis. But I saw that Srila Prabhupada was presenting it in such an authentic, real, mature way that it's genuine. He's giving the most genuine way to this, to these higher rasas of pure bhakti and pure love of Krishna. And the compassion in which he was giving it, and the love in which he spoke and he acted. I could see such deep love of God in him, and such authenticity in the purity of his presentation, and the amount of compassion. I realized that there's no higher attainment that I can ever pray for than to assist him. Whether I get love of God or not, I don't know, but I just want to assist this wonderful, saintly person. And by Srila Prabhupada's grace, I'm still trying. And by the kindness of all of you, you're giving me such a beautiful experience in my efforts.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. It really touched our hearts, and we really understand the profoundness of your love for Srila Prabhupada. And we also pray that somewhere we can cultivate love for our own teachers and gurus, and share the depth of love that Srila Prabhupada's disciples have towards Srila Prabhupada, and the example that they're setting for the world.
But I'd like to say one more thing. After 1972, when I went to the West, because my visa for India expired, so I had to leave Vrindavan. And I wasn't allowed to come back for 6 months. From that point up until the time Srila Prabhupada left this world, I only spoke a few sentences with him. We were told in those days, don't write letters to Srila Prabhupada because it disturbs his translating of books. So out of respect for Prabhupada, we were taught not to write. At least I don't know if how true that was, but that's what we were told. So the only time I was ever with Srila Prabhupada from 72 until his departure from this world were sitting in his classes at intervals of 2 years. He came in 72 to where I was, and he spent 10 days, and I was just in his classes and doing service. And he came in 74 for about a week, and I just attended his classes and did service. And he came again in 76. So besides sitting in his classes and reading his books, and 99% of the time being away from him, but just trying to emulate his teachings and trying to follow his teachings for the purpose of pleasing him, which we could call service and separation, or Vani. I really, by Radharani and Krishna and Srila Prabhupada's mercy, I felt just such a full presence of Srila Prabhupada. And I would say the vast majority of my god brothers and god sisters had very, very little physical contact with Srila Prabhupada or hardly ever talked with him. There were only a few handful that actually were in his personal association. But I don't see that those people who surrendered to pleasing him and serving him by their deep gratitude for his books, for his presence, for his movement, for his gifts, they're among the most empowered devotees and lovers of Srila Prabhupada in the world. So it really does not depend on, if we demand that, I need my guru's personal physical instructions and all of that, then we'll probably be disappointed, because if we're demanding it, we'll never get enough. But if we're just in a really grateful frame of mind, whenever the opportunity comes, I will be grateful to accept it. If Srila Prabhupada called me to his room, which he never did, but if he did, I wouldn't think, oh, I'm happily serving in separation. I would be grateful to go. But just my eagerness and enthusiasm to read his books, to hear his tapes, to go to his classes whenever he was physically there. And most of all, just to be serving in my life every day, the way I did my sadhana, was to try to please him under his direction. The way I did my services, whatever it may be. And my service has changed in so many ways. From pulling weeds in a garden to milking goats and cows to being a pujari, to going out alone and just trying to preach somewhere, and then ultimately coming to India. So service changes, times changes, everything changes. But in one sense, I really don't see a difference, because whether I was just on a lonely hill seeing him every other year in a class, just doing some gardening or milking a cow, or whether I'm, developing projects here in India, it's all really the same. I feel Prabhupada's presence in following his instructions, in eagerly hearing from him, in being grateful for his gifts. And I can say now it's 48 years since he left the world. And so many of my god brothers and god sisters and myself, we really do feel Prabhupada's presence more than ever in our life. Krishna tells in Gita, Yayatamam prapadyante, that as a person surrenders to me, I reciprocate accordingly. And our gurus are the representatives of Krishna. So as we surrender to pleasing our gurus, that's how much we're really going to feel the true presence of our gurus. And a grateful heart is not a demanding heart. It's a heart that's enthusiastic to reciprocate by service, without expectations separate from the opportunity to serve and to please our gurus.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for this most beautiful instructions. I think these are some things that we can really meditate on for the rest of our lives, and cultivate our own relationship with our spiritual masters. And the way you spoke at so many levels about connecting with the spiritual master is really profound. Maharaj, from the day you walked into India, when you were in that border in Punjab, and the first the first thought that came in your mind even before you entered the land of India, that you wanted to serve. And my question is, now that you're doing so much, how can one remain humble, deeply humble, while carrying great responsibility and influence? I'm seeing in your life, Maharaj, your thought right from the moment you entered into India was that I want to do something for the land, something for the people of India, and something for the world. The concept of, even before you heard the word service or seva, you already had that spirit of seva in you. But what is even more astounding is, though you have done such tremendous amount of service at so many levels, you also carry that sensitivity and humility, which is so endearing to everyone. So, how does one remain deeply humble while carrying out great responsibility and influence?
I wish I could be humble. the As you're speaking, I'm reflecting at that border. It was in 1970. I believe it was the beginning of December 1970 when I was at that border between Pakistan and Punjab. I wasn't thinking of serving India. I was thinking of learning. I was thinking of learning and practicing and experiencing. That was my aspiration. It was a calling of my heart that I was willing to give my life for. But then I was rejected. And the way I was rejected, it seemed like it was impossible. I would never get in. And I couldn't go back either because I didn't have a visa to get back into Pakistan. I was in a no man's land between the two. And that first immigration guard rejected me so ferociously and so absolutely that you'll never get in. And there were, guards with guns. So, I just sat under a tree, just praying and praying and praying, because what else could I do? I had no cell phone. There were no pay phones. I was in a no man's land. And many hours passed. And when that new guard came and I came before him, I really didn't feel I had a chance of getting in, but still, there was some hope in my heart. And let us say, I was humbled. I was humbled because I was in a 100% helpless condition to do anything myself except just try. And when I was begging that new immigration agent, the Sikh gentleman, when I was begging him, and I was begging him in a way that I don't deserve to get in there, but I'm just begging you, give me a chance. And that experience of being so helpless and failing at all my attempts, I was feeling such deep gratitude for the opportunity if he would just let me in. And that's what sprung from my heart. I'm begging you, if you just give me a chance, someday I'll do something good for the people of your country. So, in one sense, that desire to serve sprung from an apparently helpless and hopeless situation. Because then, when he did stamp my passport, if it didn't happen that way, I would have just gone in and been happy. But the way it happened, I was so deeply, deeply grateful. And in many ways, bhakti is like that. If we think we deserve something, if we think we could get something easy or cheaply, we don't really approach it with the proper humility and gratitude. It wasn't because I had a visa. It's because a person had mercy on me.
Wow. Wow.
And I was so grateful. And my gratitude was 100 times more because the person before had no mercy upon me. But the nature of the consciousness of gratitude, or Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj used to call the attitude of gratitude, is when we're actually grateful, it's because we're not expecting, we're not demanding. But hope after hope, we're aspiring for that mercy. And the nature of actual gratitude in bhakti is if we're grateful, we don't want to just take, we want to reciprocate by serving. And it will please Krishna, it will please Srila Prabhupada, it will please our gurus, it will please Srimati Radharani if we chant their holy names sincerely, if we treat her devotees sincerely, if we respect all living beings sincerely, if we follow the regulative principles and strive to be enthusiastic to hear the glories of the Lord. We do these things because it's the way we can reciprocate, because it's what they're asking us to do, what will please them. And their love for us, our gurus and Radharani and Krishna's love for us, is they're giving instructions. Every one of them is what's best for us. They don't need us. Their instructions are out of their love because it's best for us. And our following the instructions as we mature in bhakti, it's simply to be enjoyed by them, to please them, to serve them.
Thank you, Maharaj, for this very beautiful, extremely deep thoughts on service and your feeling that you personally carried in that moment, that desperation that made you take that promise. Maharaj, since all of these devotees who are here with us, so many new people who have not read the Journey Home at all have gone through this course. If you could offer one essential guidance to every seeker walking on their own journey home today, what would it be?
You are eternally a sacred child of God.
Wow.
Each one of you, every living being, is an individual, unique, personal, beloved child of Krishna. Jivera Swaraboy Krishna Nitya Das. We're eternally loving servants of Krishna. Quantitatively, we are a little part of Krishna, but qualitatively, we have the power to love. We have the power to be happy in that love forever, because that's who we are essentially. And at the beginning, we understand these things through hearing and through association with faithful devotees. We understand I'm part of Krishna. I'm Krishna's eternal. Krishna's love is always with me. And my soul has the power to love Krishna unconditionally, eternally. And we should not allow anything in this world or anyone in this world to distract us from this truth of who we are, who Krishna is, and what our potential is. Being part and parcel of Krishna, we're infinitesimal, and Krishna is infinite in every way. We are conscious of controlling our own little body, but Krishna is conscious of controlling every body in every form of life, in all the universes, in all material and spiritual worlds. And when the more we learn about Krishna's greatness, the more we're happy appreciating Krishna's greatness. And then we don't have to prove to ourselves or anyone else that we're great. We just want to glorify Krishna's greatness. That's the happiness of the soul. And when we're disconnected from that love for Krishna, when we're disconnected from the joy of glorifying Krishna's greatness, then we fall into this trap of the ego that our happiness is proving to myself and others how great I am. Surrender is, Krishna, you're great. And I just want to be an instrument of your greatness and give all glory to your greatness. And that's beautiful. And that's something everyone and anyone can do. Doesn't matter if we're super intelligent or not. It doesn't matter if we're popular or not. It doesn't matter if we're rich or poor or any physical or mental designations. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they especially gave this opportunity to everyone. It's just a matter of our sincerity. Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they went to everyone on the order of Lord Chaitanya. The most fallen, the most hardened criminals, the most learned Brahmins, they gave them all the same message. Chant the names of Krishna, glorify Krishna, hear about Krishna. Krishna's your real wealth. Krishna's your life and soul. Chant the names of Krishna. What does it mean to chant the names of Krishna? It means to glorify Radharani and Krishna's greatness. And Trinadapi Sunichena, to the degree we humble ourselves and we're not looking to compete with Krishna in being great, to the degree we give the glory to God, we're really humble. And to the degree we're humble, we can give all glory to God. And Srila Prabhupada on Jaladuta, he was praying to be a puppet from the core of his heart. Krishna, please let me speak your words. And you please give them the understanding to understand your words so that they could be happy. He's our founder Acharya because that principle is what his life and soul was. So if we're sincere, if we're striving to be sincere, if we're striving to give all glories to Krishna, and if we're hearing nicely and associating with really nice devotees who are actually inspiring us, then we shouldn't get discouraged. Because we're not controllers. We only have a little bit of control. We have to adjust to the environment. We have to be willing to adjust to whatever situation is, and we have to look for the opportunity to spiritually grow in every situation. We can't expect that things are going to always go our way. We can try for it, but it's not going to work most of the time. That's the way creation is. It's so important never to be discouraged. That Krishna is pleased, and Krishna will be pleased to bestow his mercy upon us if we just remain faithful to trying to serve him and please him in following his instructions and just being sincere and serious and striving to be free of ulterior motives and trying our best in this way. And if we are, Krishna's happy. We may not see it, we may not recognize it, but Krishna's happy. And in due course of time, he will reveal everything for sure. So don't be discouraged. In every situation, there's hope. Because in every situation, we could chant the holy names with sincere feeling. And in our heart, we could surrender to God's love. That's the opportunity that's there in every situation of life. So seek those opportunities. Be in the association as much as possible of those people who give you faith in those opportunities.
Thank you, Maharaj, for that guidance. It really is very apt and so clear for those who are venturing out into the path of devotion after reading the journey home, taking their baby steps in the path of devotion. And for all of us who have been practicing for many, many years, but the reminder of this essential and most basic understanding of Krishna consciousness is a wonderful reminder. Maharaj, I would personally like to express my gratitude to you because my entire life was shaped by the Journey Home book. In 2008, when the Journey Home came out, and His Grace Govind Prabhu requested me to serve you through the Journey Home, that became the turning point of my life. Till that point in time, I had no idea what I want to do in life, and I had no idea what I'm supposed to do in life. But everything that I'm able to do today and everything that I've been able to achieve in my life is simply an offering to your lotus feet, Maharaj. And assisting you in the Journey Home book has been one of the most significant aspects of my life. I will never forget all those book launches across the country that that I was fortunate enough to be a part of organizing. I can never forget those walks after the book launch. Every single book launch, you spend some time walking with me and explaining to me how you felt about the book launches and what was your experience of the event, and corrected me for so many shortcomings. Though that is what sustains me even today. And when I got this opportunity to do this Journey Home course, I just felt it is simply like, offering Ganga water back to Ganga. Whatever I have learned from you, whatever I have gained from you, whatever I have experienced by serving you through the Journey Home, I'm offering it back to the world. And especially on the 75th year of your appearance, it just feels like my circle being completed. And I'm so grateful to you for allowing me to be a part of this journey. And your presence in this course, in this particular session, it's one of the highlights of my life. Till the very last moment of my life, this will remain something that will be deeply embedded in my heart. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for being here and sharing your wisdom with all of us.
Thank you. May I ask everyone to turn their cameras on? Because while I'm talking, I couldn't see everyone because there's 12 different screens of people. May I take a few minutes just to see everyone?
Please, Maharaj.
Hari Hari.
We have at least another 1,000 devotees on YouTube who are obviously not visible, but there are almost 1,200 devotees on YouTube who are also seeking your blessings, Maharaj.
Okay, I am going to move this so I can see on the screen everything. I want to say everyone's name, but it will take a long time.
All of you all can lower your hands. Maharaj is looking at everyone, don't worry.
In each of you, I am feeling Srila Prabhupada's presence in a very special, merciful way.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for glancing on everyone and giving your kind mercy on everyone so lovingly and so gently. This probably is the highlight of the entire course.
Shall we have kirtan for 2-3 minutes?
Yes, Maharaj, please.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyapadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At least one person should turn on microphone.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanshakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam
Patitanam
pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo.
namo namaha. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
For all those of you who want to keep the handouts of the Journey Home course handy with you all, we have put it all together in the form of this little book published by Tulsi Books. You can get it on tulsibooks.com and you can keep this memory of the Journey Home course with you all, and you can go through the book and do all the activities that are mentioned in the workbook, so it will become a more powerful companion to all of you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
I pray sincerely that Sri Radha Gopinath, Srila Prabhupada, the Supreme Lord, will shower blessings, mercy, love, and grace upon each of you and your loved ones forever. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for being a part of this course, and we will continue to stay in touch with all of you through other courses that we will do. We'll keep time to time informing all of you about it, and please do stay in the communities where you will get all the information on the different courses. We also plan to do something in connection with His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj's teachings further, some small courses that we have planned for future. So please do stay in touch, and we will try our best to serve all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Subhadra Prabhu. Hare Bol. Hare Bol.